Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling something absolutely essential in English, the present simple. But forget the boring textbook stuff. We're going to break this down into a really simple, practical framework that you can start using right away. So before we even touch the how, let's ask the big question, why even bother with this tense? I mean, what's it really for? If we're going to master it, we've got to know when and why we'd actually use it when we're just, talking to people. And the answer is, it basically boils down to three main things. First up, you've got your daily habits and routines. Stuff like, I wake up at 6 a.m. Then there are general facts or truths, things that are always true, like water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. And finally, we use it for fixed schedules, things that are on a timetable, like the train leaves at 7:45. Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with that foundation, the why. Then we'll get into what I like to call the main engine of the present simple. That's how most verbs work. After that, we'll look at the one big exception, the special case, the verb be. Then we'll compare them side by side, and finally, we'll cover some super common mistakes so you can avoid them. All right, we've got the why down. Now let's dive into the how. Okay, let's get into it. This is what I call the main engine. Think of it like the powerhouse that runs almost every single verb you can think of in the present simple. Verbs like work, play, study, live, the whole lot. Now, the great thing about this main engine is that the rule is super simple. For almost every subject, you just use the basic form of the verb, what some people call the base verb. But, and this is a big but, there's one tiny little change you absolutely have to watch out for. And here it is. This is the rule for this whole system. For I, you, we, and they, the verb just stays the same. Simple. I work, they play. Easy. But for he, she, or it, you've got to add that little S on the end. He works, she plays. Seriously, if you can just lock this one detail in your brain, you've basically cracked the code for this entire system. Okay, so that little S rule has a couple of small spelling side notes, but they're mostly just to make things sound right. Like if a verb ends in a hissy sounds like sh or cha, you add es just so you can actually say it, like watches. Or for verbs ending in a consonant and then a y, like study, that y flips to ies. But don't get hung up on these. They're just minor tweaks. The main S rule is what really matters. Okay, now here's where things get really interesting with our main engine. When you want to make a sentence negative or ask a question, the main verb is, well, it's kind of weak. It can't do it on its own. It has to call for backup. And that backup, that special helper, is either do or does. Let's walk through it. Say you want to make he plays soccer negative. You start with your subject, he, then you bring in the helper, does, and add not, so you get doesn't. Now here's the magic trick. See how doesn't already has the S? That means our main verb, play, gets to relax and go back to its original, simple form. The helper does all the work. No extra S on play. It's a 1 S per sentence rule, basically. And guess what? It's the exact same logic for questions. It really is like building with blocks. You've got your question word, say where. Right after that, you slot in your helper, do or does. Then comes the subject, and then the plain old base verb. Boom. Where do they live? It's a pattern that works every single time. All right, so we've got the main engine down. Now let's shift gears and look at our second system. And you know what? This one's actually easier, because it's all about one single, special, rule-breaking verb, the verb be. The number one thing you gotta remember about be is that it's totally self-sufficient. It's a lone wolf. It's strong enough to make negatives and questions all by itself. It does not need help from do or does. I mean, ever. They don't hang out. So instead of that whole add an S thing, be just has its own 3 special forms, which, let's be honest, you probably already know. I am, he is, and you are. That's it. That's the whole list. And look how easy this is in action. Positive sentence, she is a designer. To make it negative, you just stick not right after it. He isn't at home. Want to ask a question? Just flip the first 2 words. Is she your manager? See? No do, no does, nothing. It's its own perfect little system. Okay, so we've got the main engine system with its helper verbs, and we've got the special case of be. Now for the fun part. Let's put them side by side. This is where it's all gonna click. Check out this key difference in how the sentences are built. With our main engine verbs, words like often or usually come before the verb. I often read. But with be, that same word comes after it. She is often late. That word order is like a secret code that tells you exactly which system you're in. And you see the same split in short answers. The rule here is so simple. Just answer with the verb you were asked with. Did the question start with does? Then you answer, yes, he does. Did it start with is? Then you answer, yes, she is. You just echo back the helper verb. Easy peasy. All right, for our final check, let's talk about a couple of the most common trip-ups people have. If you can learn to dodge these two little mistakes, your English is going to sound so much more natural. Okay, you hear this one all the time. It sounds so close to being right, but there's one tiny little thing that's breaking the rule for our main engine system. What is it? Can you spot it? That's it. The helper verb does has already grabbed the S. It's done its job, so the main verb, play, has to go back to its simple base form. Remember that one S per sentence rule? The helper verb always gets it. So it has to be, does she play? And how about this one? This is another classic mix-up, confusing the subject with the helper verb. We've got he as our subject, so what does our main engine rulebook tell us we need to use? Exactly, the helper verb has to match the subject. And for he, she, or it, that helper is always does, or in this case, doesn't. It's a non-negotiable pairing. So it's got to be, he doesn't play. And there you have it. It's really that simple. Just two systems. The main engine with its helpers, do and does, and the independent, self-sufficient verb, be. That's the whole framework. So my question for you is, what's the first thing you're going to go describe using the present simple? A habit? A fact? Seriously, the best way to make this stick is to just go out and use it. Give it a shot.